All right, we're going to start with going up into your search bar or your subject bar, and it's vce.tim, T-I-M, hyphen tools, Tools.com. And you'll come up to your sign-in page. It looks a little bit different than this probably. On the left-hand side, I'll say sign in. Click and sign in. You'll come to here. You'll put in your username, which is your school email address, and your password, and then you're going to hit sign in. If it's your first time, you can go over there and you can make your own password. Just to let you know, if you don't want to make your own password, I made a default password for all of you as Stetson, all lowercase, Stetson. So you just use your regular school email, and if you use lowercase Stetson, you don't have to create a new user profile. The next thing you're going to do is go to Observation Tool Timo. And if you notice, there's some stuff. It says this is the observation matrix. It's designed to help identify the level of technology integrated, demonstrated in a lesson. This is just to give the kids an idea of where they are. It's not a Likert scale or any kind of hierarchy scale. It is actually a matrix. So it kind of just gives them a ballpark figure of where they are in using technology. You're going to click on New Observation. And you're going to click question based. You're going to go down here to select a school. You're going to select EDUC 429, which is the senior level. And then whoever your intern is, you'll select their name. I'm going to select Jane Doe because she's my intern right now. And I'm going to do begin an observation. It'll say who I am. This is Jane Doe's email address. Is technology being used in the lesson? Hopefully, yes, that would be it. Are students directly using technology? So is it the teacher using the technology or are the students using the technology? I'm going to say yes. Is technology being used solely for drill and practice skills and fluency activities? So if this would be something like a fluency activity or maybe some kind of skill and drill game, math game, or some other kind of game like that, I would click yes here. If it's not, I'm going to say no. Are students working individually without interaction with other students? If they're sharing an iPad or having to create something together, then I would pick yes. If they're just each one have like an iPad or some kind of a tablet or something like that, or maybe a Chromebook, I'm going to say yes, they are. What kind of materials, including electronics resources, are students using? Are they using reference books and textbooks? Are they using a primary source? I'm going to say this kid is. Is it student-centered, like something that the kids, like maybe a student-centered activity, like a website specifically for students to use? Are students using technology to do any of the following? Are they setting goals? So if I'm in a primary source, more than likely I'm doing some kind of resource. Probably not. It might have a planning. Maybe I'm doing a timeline or something like that. Are they monitoring their own progress? Are they evaluating and reflecting on their outcomes? Or it could be none of those. And I'm going to say that they're doing planning. Are students working through a specific set of procedures like lockstep? Does everybody do the same thing at the same time so that you know that everyone in the whole class is doing the same thing? Or is it more exploratory? Are the kids kind of on their own trying to create and develop something? So I'm going to say no, they're not, because in my idea, this lesson's about a timeline. Are different groups of students using different technology tools within the same project or project time? On this one, I would say yes. Let's say, for instance, the lesson I'm imagining that the kid is doing, Jane Doe is doing, is she's doing some kind of a timeline. I've assigned different parts of a timeline to the kids so that when we get together, they're all going to develop a longer timeline, but I've given each one a chunk of time. So I'm going to say yes, they are. How are students using the technologies? Are they solely to record what they know? Are they building new knowledge or understanding? Because this is a timeline and they're recording history, they're solely recording what they know. To what extent do learning activities have access to or use of appropriate resources beyond the bounds of the instructional setting? I'm going to say, I could have books in the classroom. They could be adding their own things. So I'm going to say limited. They don't have a whole lot, but they're going to have some. Who makes decisions about what types of technology tools is going to be used in the lesson? I'm going to say the teacher and the students equally, kind of, because I've asked them to put in the timeline some of their own GIFs, their own pictures and stuff like that. So they've added pictures and stuff in there, and I've given them a little freedom to be able to see what represents that picture. So it would, if I were only going to use like Timeline Maker or something like that, I would say mostly the teacher, but because I'm thinking that she's giving them a little more flexibility, I'm going to say teacher and students equally. But can you see how this is possibly going? Who makes decisions about when the technology tools are used during the lesson? I would say mostly the teacher. I'm not just giving them free reins with the technology. And so then this is the actual matrix here. So if you look, the matrix talks about how active. She's at the adaptation level, conventional independent use of tools, some student choice and exploration. She's not collaborative. We're at the entry level because it's individual students. One of the things that they talk about with technology is we want to be able to collaborate with technology. Not that transformation is the best, it's just the way it is. Constructive, it's guided conventional use for building knowledge. Is it authentic? It's at the adaptation level, independent use and activities connected to students' lives, some student choice and exploration. And then is it goal direction? It's at the adoption level. There's conventional and procedural use of tools to plan and monitor. So it really just gives the students an idea of where they fall. Now, I don't want you to think that everyone should be at transformation, because they shouldn't. Some lessons lend themselves to transformation, and some classrooms lend themselves to that. And some it's infusion. And then sometimes we're totally at the entry level because this is introducing a new skill to the students. So it's just kind of giving an idea of how the kids are able to do that. And that's pretty much it. When I go back over here, I can do observation preview. And I can email it to the teacher. That's the one thing I want you to do, is email this to the, and it will send it directly to the students so that the students can see how they fared in this one. And then, or you can download and print the PDF results. And then the next thing I would do is close the observation, and then you'll see, oh, it should show up there. There it is. Jane Doe now shows up, and so I can publish it. And I can actually send it to the student, and then it's published so that other people can see it. And that's pretty much it. You can do as many as you want on the students at different times and different dates if you think that it would be beneficial to them. It's really, the idea is to get you starting to think about, or getting our candidates to start thinking about their use of technology and how you can move from using technology as just a sole tool where teachers tell everybody what to do, to letting the kids start to actually explore and take ownership of it. And if you think of it in Danielson's framework, we want the kids to take ownership of their own learning. So that's why transformational is at the highest level, is because the kids are saying, you know what, I could probably use the iPad for this, or maybe I could look on the internet for this, and what tools could I possibly use? So that at some time you're going to be giving the kids, letting them collaborate and letting them decide on what types of technology tools they could possibly use. Hopefully this was informative. If you have any other questions, feel free to call me.